Hey, welcome back to the Coleman Nation. I'm your host, Michael Coleman. And today's episode I'm excited about. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the people that influenced me. And, this is kind of a little bit of a showcase on one of the people that shifted my mindset and kind of made me want to do this. It was a guy by the name of Tai Lopez. And, how he managed to change my mindset in order to, make some improvements, not only in the physical realm, but, spiritually and mentally. I think that some of these guys are really, really sharp and have made me a much better thinker. So stay tuned on today's episode of the Coleman Nation. Let's go. First off, I'm gonna start off and just kind of let the cat out of the bag. There's been a few guys that are really influential to me. I think that today's format of podcasts and sort of these long form, narratives, they're really valuable. And I think that why specifically? To me, I look at the decentralization of everything is important. If you have a centralization or a cluster of all of these different, speakers or minds, then you have like your mainstream media where it's all aggregated on one channel. You got CNN, you got Fox, you got NBC, MSNBC. And so with these giant companies, they can kind of like set the narrative. They can set the tone. They can give you the messaging that they think is important to them. And what is that driven by? It's driven by advertising. Having been in advertising, I know the millions and millions of dollars that are spent on advertising and all these different types of things. And so I start looking at, this concept of decentralization is important. The other thing too is centralization of a lot of different industries can be very detrimental, right? It can be very damaging. Case in point is that if you have all of our food supply is centralized, right, in a couple of large manufacturers, that's a lot worse than if everybody has the opportunity to farm their own food, right? Their own livestock, their own gardens. Can you imagine if everyone in the United States had their own gardens and their own livestock? They had chickens and they had a couple of cows and, their own milk, and you didn't have the requirement of having to go to the supermarket, some of those staple goods that you use all the time. Well, that's the way it was just a 100 years ago. That's the way that it was. It was like you could have all of this stuff decentralized, and it was really the centralization of food, the centralization of information. Like all of these things serve to diminish our country. It serves to diminish our mindsets, and it serves to put control into a place that opens the door for corruption, in my opinion. To me, I never had really any of these thoughts. I mean, it was a few years ago, and I was just like, as a business guy on my own company and whatnot, and it's just things were kind of cranked along. But I sort of saw the accelerated decline of civilization very, very quickly, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good, and so I didn't have any really desire to be have any fame or anything like that. But what I do want to do is I want to start engaging conversations that I think are going to upgrade, the mentality of the planet as a whole, and of civilization. Just get us thinking and asking the right questions. Because I think that through the right questions, then that opens the door in order to be able to, to create solutions for the things that ail us as a society. So who are some of the people? I'm just going to, like I said, going to cut to the chase and give you the punchline, because these are going to be some of the guys that I talk about in subsequent episodes. But there's a few people that really, changed my mindset and, made me think outside the box. there'll be some times where I, do some book reviews and things of some authors that did that. But these who are the people that I think are some of the most important, podcasters that are out there. So these are the ones, and I'm going to talk about one in particular today. But it's Tai Lopez is one of the people that, oddly enough, people have their own ideas about him. But I'll talk to you about the story that that I had with Tai. Another one who I think is absolutely critical to today's sort of concept is Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary V, man, that guy is just, I don't know, he's just an uplifting personality, just all the way around. I always feel like whenever I hear some of the things that he's talking about and the things that he engages upon, is just like, wow, this guy just is constantly bringing value. So he's going to be another one that we'll talk about in the future. Grant Cardone is another one. I mean, if you want to talk about people that think big and the humility of his approach, he has a very, very big personality. But I'd asked Grant for some help personally, about a little over a decade ago, just as he was kind of gearing up 10X Nation and whatnot. And the guy helped, and I'll tell you that story in an upcoming episode. Another one who I think is just absolutely incredible is Ed Mylett. If you haven't had a chance to tune into Ed Mylett's, channel, that guy's just awesome. And, I've had a chance to talk to Ed personally, in the past, and his ability to spot your gifts and just pour belief into you. I don't think that there's anyone better in the world at that than Ed Mylett. And, the fact is that he's got his podcast and it brings a tremendous amount of value to society. I think that he engages in some of the most, forward thinkers and some of the people that are, the high performance in their fields. And they're really just pretty incredible. Some of the things that he brings to market and the value that he brings, the value that Ed brings to me personally. I mean, I can't appreciate him enough. He's just an incredible speaker and so forth. And so I think that you should definitely check him out. We'll talk more about him in an upcoming episode. And then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's round out the top 6. And who knows, I might include a few more guys in the future and some of the people that, have influenced me. But these are just the ones that are off the top of my head that have been the most influential. The next one that I would tell you, this is probably the first podcast that I'd ever listened to. And, it's just kind of an interesting situation where, I mean, I was asleep. I was asleep and I was in a spot where it's just kind of like, well, what am I going to do? And it's kind of like, watching guitar videos and, just kind of figuring out songs and stuff, like, especially in the middle of the pandemic, couldn't really go anywhere. Florida reacted way different than a lot of the different states that are out there. It's had a lot more freedoms in Florida than, I think some of the other states were. I knew that was not going to be the case, but the person that, was kind of, sitting in my ear, kind of like changing the way that I think and challenging me in certain ways and going, wow, I really thought of looking at that way. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that about that, was Tim Pool, and I think that out of all the podcasts that I listen to regularly, I think that Tim Pool is the one that I listen to with the most regularity, and I can't appreciate what the guys over at Timcast and Tim Pool have done, because the fact that, like, wow, these guys are just phenomenal. I mean, there's plenty of times where I've disagreed with many of the people that are on that, but the fact is that they're engaging every particular angle that you can. They're getting points of view from far and wide, people that are conservative, people that are liberal, and I really think that Tim is doing what he can to engage the thought process of Americans today, and in fact across the globe. I know that he's made an impact, and I think that the thought of sort of capturing culture and leading with that, is going to be one of the things that fundamentally is going to start to change the woof and warp of society as a whole. And so I'm excited to talk about, Tim Pool when we get to that episode. And then finally, the last person that I think has been really, really eye-opening and bringing and engaging some of the best content in the podcast world is Russell Brand. Russell It's going to be a similar story to, what my original thought was about him as a human being, as to what we'll talk about with Tai Lopez today. But Russell, I just was like, oh my gosh, this guy, what I thought about him and the previous conclusions that I had drawn him about, just the things that I had seen on TV and, not really knowing that much about him, and maybe as a movie guy and all that kind of stuff, and an entertainer and a comedian, and just the way that he thinks today and his thought processes and the way that he structures, his episodes and the way that he engages with people and how he listens. When I think of some of the best podcasters that are out there, Russell Brand is absolutely at the top of the list. And I think that the things that he's doing, the questions that he's asking, and frankly, the arrows that he's taking, for even asking the questions that he asks, I think that they're going to be a tremendous value of the way that he changes the way that people think. And I can't appreciate him enough. And there's a few more that are out there, but just to kind of get it started off, those are the ones that I think have made the biggest impact on me, and how I think, and the things that I want to do and the contributions that I want to make to society. I think that those would be the 6 guys right off the top of my head. But let's get into it today. We're going to talk about Tai Lopez. And Tai Lopez is an interesting dude. The first time that I'd seen Tai Lopez, I think it's the same as with everybody else. I would consider him to have been, and pardon my language, I don't swear often or anything like that, or even have concepts, that would be considered, blue or outside or anything like that. But Tai Lopez, to me, the first impression that I ever got from him was that he was the YouTube Lamborghini douche, right? And I just was like, man, what is it with this guy? He's walking through his garage and, click on this and blah, 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 and check out all my Lambos and whatever. And I was like, what an absolute tool. And so I'd seen a couple of his whatever, just the advertisements that popped up on YouTube, and that was it. I actually shamefully just kind of jumped to conclusions about someone based upon a couple of 1 minute, 2 minute videos on YouTube. And I was just like, okay, that was my whole picture of this guy. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I'm going to go to 10X. So a few years ago, I went to the Grant Cardone's 10X conference. One of the people that I really wanted to see is I just wanted to see Tai Lopez, because I wanted to confirm my preconceived notions and beliefs about him, because I'd drawn conclusions, and I said, you know what? I need something that's going to, confirm my biases about this guy. And, and so I want to see him. I just want to, in my mind, justify the fact that I had drawn conclusions about, Tai Lopez. This guy's just a flashy guy that doesn't, represent any of my values. And I got to tell you that literally I've never done a 180 about my conclusions about someone faster than I have with Tai. He came out, and within literally less than 10 seconds, with his first things out of his mouth, he completely put to bed my preconceived notions about him, and he drew me in, and I was 100% curious about the next things that he had to say. And I got to tell you, of all the speakers, he completely kept me engaged because of the first thing that he said. He comes out on stage, he goes, "Hey, my name is Tai Lopez, and you guys probably know me as the Lamborghini douche." And I was like, oh my gosh, that is hilarious. He completely, in that one sentence, called out my thoughts about him and all my preconceived notions. And he says, the fact of the matter is that you know me as the Lamborghini guy, the Lamborghini YouTube douchebag or whatever. And that was a controlled perception, right? It was something that I wanted people to know because of the fact that this is what by survey was something that people resonated with, whether it was good or bad. People like fast cars. they like big houses, and this is the fastest way for me to make a connection. He goes, in all honesty, it's pretty easy to be able to, kind of influence people. And he goes, and I'm going to be really transparent about it. And that was the second thing. He's like, listen, I'm going to be transparent about the things that I've done and the ways that I engage with people. And I was like, dude, this guy's blowing my mind. He's even been on stage for 30 seconds. And I'm like completely enthralled by what he's saying. And he goes, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take a little moment. We're going to re-engage. We're going to start to shift some of those biases. We're going to shift some of the mindsets. And I was like, all right, let's bring it. He goes, so what happens? He goes, on social media in today's day and age, he goes, you can see, because if you go on my social media, my Instagram, because I'm posting pictures and I got these different things, pictures with people and famous people. And I got this with, this such and such celebrity and this other celebrity. And it says, this has got 100,000 likes and this one's got, 200,000 likes and 500,000 views and this other person, whatever. And he goes, and then you go to this, this picture with Kim Kardashian. It's got like 250,000 likes, his picture with Kim Kardashian, right? And so I was like, okay, whatever. And he goes, now check this out. He goes, in one post, I completely shift the mindset of everyone that's following me. And he goes, and you can see it. You can see it by the numbers. And I was like, okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, what did he do? And he pulls up this post, right? And he says, Grandma, I just want to tell you how much I love you. You're over 100 years old. We're celebrating your 100th birthday today, and I just want to tell you how much you influenced me and, how much you mean to me and how much you mean to the family. And, I'm just so excited that you're my grandma and, that we get to spend another, minute together. And I think of all the sunsets that you've had a chance to see in your life and, the things that you've been able to do. And it's just been a tremendous impact on me. And I was like, holy crap, this is unbelievable. And in that one moment he showed, and it was like something like an absurd amount of engagement on that one post was like over 1 million. It was like 1 million likes or something on this one post that he had. It was just ridiculous. And it was far and away more engaged with than any of the other things that he had posted, celebrities and all that kind of stuff. And he says, in that one post, he goes, I let you guys see a little peek into me as a person. There was some vulnerability. There was sincerity. He's like, I love my grandma more than anything else. But now what did I just do? He goes, I completely shifted in your minds my brand from being the Lamborghini guy to being the great grandson. Right? The grandson loves grandma and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there going, I can't believe it. Like, this guy is completely, in a couple of sentences, less than a minute, totally shifted my point of view about him. And from that point forward, I was like, this is unbelievable, And he continues on and he's talking about, just about branding and, all these different concepts about marketing. And he was telling these stories. And then he said something that completely, again, shifted my thought process. I'm kind of reflecting upon some of these things, and the way that he approached it. And he said, in today's day and age, he goes, with technology and, the online marketing and, the businesses that are out there, he goes, if you're not making money, you're doing something wrong. And I'm sitting there going, what? What is he talking about? And he's like, there's opportunity everywhere. And this is what I took away from it, is like, there's opportunity everywhere and you're just not seeing it. Right. And so if you are like literally conditioned to not see the opportunity that's out there, you're going to miss it totally. And I was like, okay. And that was another fascinating thing, is that it felt like he was talking directly to me, and it's like, I've had a lot of public speakers where I was like, wow, this is really great. But I actually felt like I was having a conversation. And you know what? I think that was his presence of mind to consider that the audience was someone that was going to be receiving his communication. A lot of the great speakers, they will do that. Has this been some valuable stuff for you so far? Is this making an impact, changing your mind, making you think some different things? If so, take a second and hit that like button. And if it's valuable content, make sure you hit the subscribe and turn on notifications, because we'll be coming out with some more new episodes, and you want to make sure that you are the first to know. So let's get back to our episode. Right? They don't talk to a mass of people. They talk to an individual, And so I'm sitting there going, okay. Like, I actually felt like I was answering these questions, and I'll get more to that in a second. And so he goes, so let's do an example. He goes, today we're going to start a business together. And this is going to be a profitable business that's going to put you on track to be able to, to become financially independent. And I was like, oh, he's going to freaking sell us something. Like, I know this is the catch, right? And he goes, the first thing that we want to do is we want to survey a business. He goes, I'm just going to tell you about a business that I thought of, on the way up here, or the last couple of days. I was thinking about this question. And he goes, so let's survey it. We got a pretty good group of people here. Let's do a survey of the 20, 30,000 people, or however many people are at this 10X conference, right? And he goes, let's survey it. Let's check it out. So show of hands. And I'm like, okay, here it comes. He goes, by a show of hands, I want to know how many of you have ever been confused about protein bars. And I swear to you, every single freaking hand in that place went up. Like, just boom, boom, went up, including mine. I was literally laughing to myself. I was either going, I was just having an argument with my mom and my wife about what were the best protein bars. Like, hey, we got to get some protein bars. I'm going to head out to, Costco to get them on Amazon. Like, what should we do? And my wife's going, well, I like this particular protein bar. And I'm like, those things taste like garbage. I don't want to eat that. What I would rather have is like, I want these. I want Tiger's Milk bars or something like there's all these different protein bars. And so I was literally raising my hand, and I was laughing that within the last 48 hours, I had just had an argument with my own family about what are the best protein bars to get. And he goes, so he looks around, he goes, okay, the survey's pretty good. We're going to know that protein bars and the mystery and confusion around protein bars, that's a need that we can fulfill. He goes, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go online and we're going to get a website. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And he goes, so where would we want to go? If you were going to look up something on Google to find out what are the best protein bars, what are we going to do? There's protein bar reviews, right? So let's check it out. He goes, right now, you guys are on GoDaddy. You're looking up the domain, right? proteinbarreviews.com. He goes, I just typed it in. It's still available. Hit refresh. Oh, it's gone. Someone just bought it. And how much was it? $1.99. But you know what? We just had 20,000 people doing a search for protein bar reviews. That person who just bought it, and you hear this lady off in the background going, I got it, right? He goes, that lady, because of all the traffic that we just generated, she bought it for $2. She could immediately turn around and sell it for $5,000. Just like that. Literally, in this one moment, she went from a $2 investment to a $5,000, even more. She could sell that because of all the traffic that we just generated for that. I'm sitting there going, you got to be freaking kidding me. And my buddy, he sends me a screen cap, and he was on the other side of the stadium. And he's like, I got it. And I was like, dude, you spelled reviews wrong, right? I was like, you did not get it. The other lady got it, right? But the point is that he was like, so now we've got protein bar reviews. We own it. We own the company. He goes, so now where do we go? Where do we go to get reviews? If you're going to look up a product and you're going to buy a product, where do you go in order to find out which one to buy? Amazon. He goes, so now you got a website. And Amazon has it set up. Number one is that they can push all of their reviews on the product straight to the page. So you can just go on. You could probably have to do a little bit of research how to do it, but you can parse all of those reviews straight over. So you could actually go online, look up, figure out what the top 10 are, and just boom, and just put down protein bar reviews. And now you're the first one that comes up when people are looking for protein bars. You've got all of the data patched in from Amazon. And then on top of that, if you go through, you can put a code together, like a marketing code or whatever, a distributor code on Amazon. And then now every time someone clicks on your website, boom, it goes back and you get profit sharing if someone buys protein bars from your website. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? What? And he's like, yes. He goes, so now that lady, he goes, let's just play it out. She got proteinbarreviews.com. And next thing you know, she goes online and she's like, pulls in the data from Amazon. She has her little marketing, source code attached to purchasing the protein bars. And she winds up making a few $100 a month. She has her freaking car payment paid for because she came to this event. She could sell that domain name for thousands of dollars. She bought it for $2. And I'm sitting there going, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Like immediately, I was like my own preconceived notions about how difficult or how hard it has to be to get into business, like all of these were just being thrown out the window. Like as fast as I could come up with them, they were just being thrown out the window. And he goes, by the way, there's a lot of three-word domain names that are out there that you could buy for $2, $5, right? And I was just like, he's right. What are some of the other things people are confused about? I could do reviews on that. I didn't wind up doing that. But the point is that it started you thinking about, it put us immediately, a couple of things. It put us in a mindset of abundance. It put the whole audience in a mindset of solutions, right? It got us thinking. It got us seeing like there's abundance around us everywhere. We just had to look for it. And he says, so now all of a sudden, let's follow this through. She winds up going out. Now she's the foremost authority on protein bar reviews. She's getting a little bit of ad revenue. She throws some Google ads on there, whatever. Next thing you know, she converts that to a subscription box. And then she takes that subscription box and she's like, and her and her kids, every weekend, she gets 1,000 subscriptions to her protein bars. She gets them on discount. And she says, hey, every month, we're going to send you our select, box of protein bars, direct from Protein Bar Reviews. And she goes out and she says, for $100 a month or something like that, we're going to send you, our select box of protein bars. Every week, you're going to get a drop shipped, or every couple of weeks, you're going to get a drop shipped to your place. She gets them at a discount. She got $100 a month that's coming in. She got 1,000 people, that's subscribed to her service. Okay. That's $100,000 of revenue per month that's coming in. Right. She and her kids are throwing together boxes. It takes her a weekend to throw together 1,000 boxes of protein bars. And she takes them down to the post office or has them come over and pick them up. And let's say that half the money is spent on inventory and postage and whatever, and a little bit of marketing. And now she's profiting, $50,000 a month. And I sat there and I was like, I'm not going to do protein bars, but this son of a gun just literally out of nothing, live in front of a stadium full of people, he just made that lady financially independent. Now, whether she does it or not, puts in the work, that's entirely up to her. But he gave her the blueprint. All of a sudden, the realization that it really is all about mindset and abundance, my mind was blown. And if you can imagine, in a 20-minute conversation, I was like my entire perception of this guy completely turned. And he comes up on stage and he says, listen, he goes, now I'm going to pitch you my package. Like I'm going to pitch you the thing that, I'm here to sell. He goes, and we're all here to sell something. You guys are here to make some improvements. That's fine. Right. Like I'm being transparent. He goes, and by the way, the more transparent that you are, especially in today's, day and age, the better it's going to be for you in business. And I'm like, that's true. I don't want someone that's going to BS me and, and all that kind of stuff. And so he goes, so I'm just going to tell you, if you can't afford the leadership package or whatever that I'm going to be giving you today. And he goes, don't do it. He goes, don't buy it. He goes, but some of you will. And we're going to have a great time. He goes, so I'm going to do a leadership marketing, sort of package, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be 8 online classes. Okay, 8 online classes. So you're going to come in, it's going to be live, and you're going to jump onto, my webinar. They're going to go for about an hour, so you get 8 hours with me. And then at the end of the class, then you guys can all come to my house and, you can come hang out and we can talk and, kind of network and, just get to meet, some of my folks, and I'll introduce you to some people and whatnot. And I thought, this guy's totally full of BS. There's no way that we're going to get to go to his house. That's insane. But I was like, but you know what? I think that I'll get some value. If he gave me this much value in 20 minutes, let's see what it is. $2,500. come to my house, 8 classes on marketing, mindset, leadership, all that kind of stuff, live, you got to register. And I was like, $2,500 bucks. All right, I'll check it out. You know what? 1,000 people got that out of the 20, 30,000 people in the stadium, 1,000 people. That son of a gun made $2.5 million in 20 minutes. I was like, that's insane. He just talked for 20 minutes and he just like literally $2.5 million in 20 minutes. And here's the thing. I jumped on all of those webinars. I attended every one. I got a notebook. I sat down. I took notes and I was blown away. You know why? Because he delivered greater than $2,500 in value. The stuff that he went over on some of the things on human nature, business, marketing concepts, advertising, online advertising, website development. I mean, he covered all of these things live. And by the way, he oftentimes went 2 or 3 hours of value. Here's the website that you go to. Oh, you want this resource? Go to here. Here's a book that I read. This is what I got out of it. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you do it. It was literally hour after hour of value and content. And he asked for nothing in return. This was what he was giving in return for the money that was given. And it far exceeded. I'm telling you that at minimum, I got 10 times the value out of what was spent. So then we went, he honored it. He said, come to my house. He's like, my house only holds 300 people. There's 1,000 of you guys here. So we're gonna have 3 different sessions and you got to register and come to the house. It's all part of the package, whatever. He fed us lunch, snacks, and dinner. So you had to come there early in the morning. You had to eat breakfast already. There was coffee. We went there. He had all these guest speakers lined up all day long, broke bread, took pictures, had dinner, had all this stuff. And then he says at the end of the thing, he goes, by the way, I got my upgraded leadership networking package deal. Again, if you can't afford it, don't do it. But I'm just going to tell you this right now. If you want to be able to have access to my network of people and have some introduction and all that kind of stuff. And sure enough, he said, you know what? That one's only for 100 people. And that's going to be 25,000. And I'm sitting there going, are you serious? He made another $2.5 million just in the course of like, hey, I'm going to just give you an upgraded experience. So this son of a gun, in about 8 hours, 10 hours, probably some organization time, cost us a lunch and 3 lunches, 3 dinners for 3 different groups, and 20 minutes, $2.5 million. This guy made $5 million for maybe a couple of weeks worth of actual work. And I sat there and I was like, the world's a different place, man. The world is a different place. And I think that my eyes have been open. My mind has been open as to what is possible. I've had a few engagements with Tai. And by the way, it's no endorsement of any of these things in any way, shape, or form. But I just was like, I want to learn. And where are the resources? Well, I want to go back to someone that gave me value before that exceeded. And this is the other thing. If anytime that you're engaging with someone, in a business transaction, if you can exceed the value of what you're selling, like if they pay you $100 for a service and you exceed $100 of service with that exchange, it's like you're going to win. And so at the end of the day, I mean, I didn't do that, the $25,000 package, but I walked away with something infinitely more valuable, which was just a changed mindset, in a new era of business where I was holding on to, sort of stodgy, old concepts of how things needed to be and how slow everything needed to be. I started seeing possibilities in other places where I was just like, wow, the world is, and I walked out of there. The world was a brighter place. It was a better place. There were more opportunities. I saw positives in people. I understood things about folks. I understood things about marketing. I said, and I come from the marketing and advertising background, but the fact that there was a fresh take on it, I was absolutely, just completely blown away with it. And, and the fact is that like he gave a ton of value to all of us, and especially the part of breaking bread where he sat with us. He sat down with as many people as he could, and he's like, if I can just make a little bit of an impression or, invest in a little bit of time in shaking someone's hand or, being present with someone to listen to their ideas, he goes, how much value are they going to go and put out into the world just by doing that? And I just like, dude, from my original thought of who this guy is to the value of what he delivered, and continues to deliver. I still, follow the guy. I love the things that he does and things that he stands for. I was like, wow, this is really, really awesome stuff. So I give you that story is just, again, one of the online influencers. I picked him first just because, it was a really, really awesome, sort of story and engagement. Hopefully that lady with the protein bars is knocking it out of the park. But if not, don't lose the lesson of the story here is that there's opportunity everywhere, and I just, again, thank Tai for, for sort of changing my mindset. I came in with a preconceived notion, totally, 180 degree turn it around. So, as I'm going through this, the question that I want to ask, I was engaged with some questions at the end is, did this story, did it raise your concept of what you feel is valuable, or what you can do in your future? Financially, do you feel like, wow, I'm thinking a little bit differently. I should be looking more for opportunities rather than problems. Did this make you a little bit more, solution oriented than problem oriented? I know that it did that for me, and what are some of your key takeaways? What are some of the things that you think like, wow, I could actually apply that? We'll talk more about, some of the other, influencers and the interactions and stories that, that I've had. Even just, I've never met some of these guys before in my life, but, some of the things that I've taken away of some value. But hopefully that was some value to you, and hopefully that we can continue to bring value, to the audience. So if you feel like we've done that today, at the conclusion of this episode, I just invite you, make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future, and make sure that you turn on notifications so that when we drop the next episode, you're ready to go and engage. So thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. And thanks for being here with us on the Coleman Nation. Take care. See ya.